Most gardeners think worms just need food to thrive. That's the myth. And it's exactly why so many worm populations collapse right after you introduce them. You can add compost, mulch, even expensive castings, and still end up with soil that looks rich but performs like it's lifeless underneath. The problem isn't food, it's transition shock. When worms are moved into a new garden bed or container, they're suddenly exposed to a completely different microbial environment. That shock slows them down, stops reproduction, and in a lot of cases quietly kills them. You don't see it happening, but you feel it in poor plant growth, weak root systems, and soil that never seems to improve, no matter what you add. And here's where most people make it worse without realizing it. Right after introducing worms, they feed them raw kitchen scraps that heat up and destabilize the environment. That early stage stress is enough to wipe out a large portion of your population. That's why I started using a 4-liter electric composter for kitchen smart countertop compost bin. It turns food waste into a consistent, soil-like material that worms can process immediately without heat spikes or odor issues. It removes one of the biggest early mistakes. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out. But even when feeding is done right, there's still a missing step that determines whether your worm population explodes or disappears. Let's talk about why this works, because once you understand the mechanism, it changes how you approach soil completely. Now here's how I've been doing it across different systems, and why the details matter more than people expect. You start with actual clay soil. If your topsoil doesn't have much clay, dig a bit deeper into the subsoil. That's usually where you'll find a heavier clay content. You don't need a lot, but it needs to be real clay, not loose garden mix. Mix that clay with water until you get a smooth, thick slurry. Not watery, not clumpy. You're aiming for a consistency similar to pancake batter, so it coats evenly. Now, here's the part that most people skip or, rush. You don't just dip the worms and pull them out. You let them sit in the slurry for 5 to 10 minutes. During that time, they move through the mixture naturally, coating themselves completely. The clay sticks to their bodies and microbes bind to that layer. That coating becomes their transition shield. When you take them out, don't rinse them, don't let them dry. Place them directly into your soil. And this is where things start to change fast. Instead of disappearing into the soil and going inactive, the worms begin moving immediately. Within a couple of days, you'll start seeing fresh castings on the surface. Within a few weeks, you'll notice cocoons if your environment is stable. That's when reproduction begins. And once reproduction starts, you stop thinking about adding worms altogether. Now here's something I didn't expect when I first started testing this. The worse your soil conditions are, the more noticeable the improvement. In sandy soil where water drains too quickly, worms usually struggle to maintain moisture. In compacted soil, they struggle to move and create tunnels. The clay coating helps stabilize both extremes during those first critical days. I've used this in raised beds where the soil mix wasn't perfect, and the difference was obvious within weeks. In containers, especially grow bags where conditions fluctuate rapidly, survival rates improve significantly with this method. Even in hybrid hydroponic systems where organic matter is introduced, worms can survive and contribute, but only if they're introduced correctly. Without that coating, they fail almost immediately. Now let's correct something that gets repeated a lot but doesn't hold up in practice. If you build healthy soil, worms will come. If you want faster, reliable results, you have to introduce biology intentionally. That means helping worms establish from day one. They're soil builders. They create channels for air and water, making it easier for roots to expand. They distribute microbes throughout the soil. They convert organic matter into plant-available nutrients in a form that supports steady growth. Now earlier I mentioned feeding, and this is where a lot of gardeners unknowingly slow everything down. The first week after introducing worms is critical. If you add fresh scraps that start heating up, you create hot zones that worms avoid. If the material breaks down unevenly, you get anaerobic pockets that disrupt activity. You want something stable. Soft, partially broken down material that worms can process immediately. This is where having a reliable input source changes everything. When your food source is predictable, your worm system becomes predictable. You stop guessing and start seeing steady results. When you combine stable feeding with the clay dip method, you're stacking advantages. In one of my beds, I introduced a small group of worms using this method. Within a month, I was already seeing signs of population growth without adding more. In another bed where I skipped the dip, the population barely held steady. Same environment, different approach, completely different outcome. And once your worm population stabilizes, the rest of your garden follows. Soil holds moisture more evenly. You don't get extreme dry or waterlogged spots. Roots grow deeper and stronger. Nutrients cycle more efficiently, so you're not constantly adding inputs to maintain growth. So if your soil isn't improving the way it should, or you keep adding worms without seeing long-term results, this is where I'd focus. Fix the introduction. Use the clay dip. Control the first week of feeding, then let the system build itself. If you're serious about growing food with real consistency, subscribe to FamLogic. This is where we focus on methods that actually work in real gardens, raised beds, containers, and everything in between. Because once you understand soil biology at this level, you stop chasing quick fixes and start building systems that sustain themselves. Share this with someone who's still struggling to get worms to thrive. It might completely change how they approach their soil.